Millions. Gangs overrunning the country while the prime minister had gone to Kenya to seal a deal for an international policing force. Ariel Henry now stuck in Puerto Rico. The country's been without a president since 2021 and the assassination of Jovenel Moïse in what seemed at the time like a new low for the America's poorest nation. Now, though, it's only getting worse, it seems. Haiti is truly leaderless. The UN, United States, and Caribbean leaders are scrambling for an alternative to outright gang rule by the likes of the notorious Jimmy Cherizier, aka Barbecue. And if Washington is growing tired of Ariel Henry, then what's the alternative? Our panel will also react to the exclusive report we're about to show you by partner station France 2, filmed in the streets of Port-au-Prince before last weekend's massive jailbreak by the gangs. Today in the France 24 debate, we're asking who to save Haiti, and we'll be joined shortly from Haiti's capital by Vidlor Mérancourt, editor-in-chief of the news website AYITI Post. Renata Segura is deputy program director for Latin America and the Caribbean for International Crisis Group. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Attorney Anne-Élodie Telemaque is the former president of the Maison d'Haïti Cultural Center here in Paris. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you for inviting me.
And we're pleased to welcome Florian de Moal, video journalist, senior correspondent for public broadcaster France Télévisions. You and Marc de Chelvron, France 24 alumnus, who's graced us with his presence as well. We're going to see your report in a moment. Thanks to both of you for being with us.
Thank you.
Your reactions on the hashtag F2 4Debate. Let me just begin with you. Anne-Élodie, what are people telling you in the last 24 hours that you've spoken to over in Haiti?
That the situation is chaos, literally, that people are living in fear, but that there is it seems that there is an Haitian proposal for a way out of the current chaos. I could talk about it.
Yeah, we'll be asking you about that, about how to break this impasse. First, though, as promised, that exclusive report filmed by Florian and Marc. It's a story read by Lauren Bain.
A violent scene unfolds in Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. Police were able to stop an attempted kidnapping. A man is left severely injured. His wife cries out in despair. He's a collateral victim caught in the crossfire. The police firing shots only adds to the chaos. Three men are arrested. They're suspected of being involved with the abduction of a lorry driver. In Haiti, anyone can be kidnapped and held for ransom. The man is still alive and is rushed away in this taxi.
We didn't used to hear shootings around here. It was normally downtown. Today, it's everywhere.
Extortion and kidnappings have become a common trade to finance the gangs. Since the assassination of the Haitian president in 2021, the country has been plunged even further into political chaos and insecurity. 80% of the capital today is controlled by criminal groups. Haitian police officers attempt to regain control of parts of the city. In a bullet-riddled tank, this elite unit gears up for a face-off with a gang. Making their way through Mariani, a neighborhood west of Port-au-Prince.
The residents here are desperate. The area has been occupied for some time by armed men, civilians. We're here to put them out of their misery.
Their mission is to retake a slaughterhouse occupied by a gang. The team is guided by a drone as they move toward the building. Tension is high. Shots are fired. The police enter a narrow alley when they hear someone. The man seen running is shot by police. Although not visibly armed, by just being in the area, he's considered a gang accomplice.
Stand by.
The team decides to retreat. The slaughterhouse will remain in the hands of the gang.
We eliminated a gang member. He was in an alley. I killed him. We had to retreat.
In Haiti's brutal turf war, more than 13 people are killed every day. The Bel Air gang controls this neighborhood located in the heart of Port-au-Prince. Lookouts are always keeping an eye on the front line.
Here it's okay. It's safe. But definitely not up there. We could only go just a little further.
This man moves to a lookout spot closest to the front.
This is the Solino neighborhood. See their flag? It's their base.
At the end of the street is enemy territory. The Bel Air gang has been trying to gain control of this area.
There's a guy who sticks out his head from time to time. I'm gonna shoot him.
For the gangs, gaining new territory means securing more financing through extortion. In this footage, the two sides came head-to-head. The Solinos, aided by the police, are seen fighting off the Bel Airs. Young members of the Bel Air gang show off their territory, armed to the teeth. They call themselves the 103 zombies, living or dying in the service of their boss.
In the Battle of Solino, we were ready to die. That's all we've got in this country. Most of the young people who haven't left Haiti yet are like us. They take up arms.
We are the 103 zombies. We run this country.
On social media, they brandish their wealth and lavish lifestyles achieved through criminal activities. Some are even seen with a couple $1,000s. They set out patrolling the streets with a bottle of rum in one hand and a gun in the other.
This gun is like us. See, it too drinks rum.
On the other side of the street, the Solino neighborhood, coveted by the Bel Air gang. One of the residents shows where the two gangs faced off.
They burned everything. It's war. Everything's destroyed.
A large community of police officers live in Solino, along with other local residents. So far, they've managed to fend off the Bel Air gang, but the fighting is fierce.
There are residents who stay there all night, the community brigades. It's a form of self-defense to keep people from leaving the neighborhood. Authorities don't come here to see the damage.
Abandoned by the state, the population has been left to fend for itself, with over 300,000 people displaced. More than half are children. This woman had to flee her home in a hurry while pregnant.
In Haiti, we're not valued. We're thirsty, we're hungry, we're being shot at, we're in need. The country's finished. We need a solution because it's really bad.
Last year, the UN approved a multinational police mission to quell the violence. Leading the initiative is Kenya, who has agreed to deploy 1,000 officers to Haiti, a small glimmer of hope for millions of Haitians.
Yeah, that report by Florian Demoiselle and Marc de Chalvron. Let me begin with you, Florian. You guys have been to a lot of different places. You stayed in Haiti for 1 week. Was it what you were expecting?
Not at all. That was the first time for me. So I didn't know what expected. I mean, of course, before going on an assignment, you read lots of stuff about the story, about the country and what's going on there. But as soon as we arrived, we realized that the situation was a total chaos.
Yeah, that attempted kidnapping, you filmed it almost by chance.
Yeah, I mean, we were riding on bicycle back to the hotel. We heard some gunshots, and we arrived on a situation where there was a crowd of lots of people and people yelling. So you don't catch the situation, straight. And then we approached and we saw this guy lay down, bleeding, and his wife shouting, crying. I mean, it was quite intense, yeah.
Marc de Chavron, those children, they're children who are drinking rum to steal their nerves. They have older people behind the scenes who are supplying them. Any idea who they are?
Yeah, well, actually, we had an appointment with their boss on the day we were with them, but he was sick, so we couldn't meet them. So, yeah, there is, for every gang, there is a boss, and the guy who carry the weapons and who go on the front line, they really follow what the boss says. And it's the same in every neighborhood controlled by gangs. So they are really soldiers dedicated to their boss.
And a word about the police that we saw there. Mm-hmm. How overwhelmed are they? We see them go in. There's maybe that boy who's shot.
Yeah.
What is he, like a spotter?
We don't exactly know, because when we were there, we just understood that they shot a guy, but we didn't know who it was, because the guy in the front just shot him, and then we saw the picture and we saw that it was just a guy.
Because you had put body cams.
Oh yeah, on the commander, the one who shot the young guy, and so we just saw that this guy didn't carry a weapon. So we were like, okay, the police, they can shoot like this people who don't have weapons, but the situation was so dangerous there that in a way you can understand it, but. What was doing this guy there, we don't know. I mean, was he a spotter for the gang? Was he just a guy going through this place? Because some people are living nearby. This, we don't know.
And, I mean, you can see with this, I mean, the SWAT team, when they put their boots on the ground, I mean, they are not really confident, because you know that you can have an ambush. I mean, there is no one around, so they're just like walking, and you can feel them like really tense, because you can be ambushed at any moment. So this guy was just like coming in.
Yeah, this neighborhood was really a trap for them.
Well, we can now cross to Port-au-Prince. Vidlor Mérancourt, editor-in-chief of the news website AYIBO Post. Thank you for being with us here in the France 24 debate. What we just saw illustrated in that report. How long has it been like that in the Haitian capital?
Well, I think what we just saw in this report is the latest example of Haiti, plunging further into chaos. But at the same time, it's not a new story. It's probably, some of the worst situations we've seen. But we have to remember, in 2021, the Haitian president was the leader of the country back then, was assassinated in the intimacy of his bedroom, and a couple of days, I think weeks before he was killed, dozens of people were killed in the capital, including a human rights defender and a journalist.
So let me just to get it straight, Vidlor. 2010, there's that horrific earthquake. At what point do the gangs really take over Port-au-Prince?
Well, Haiti has a gang problem. This gang problem, stems back for years. Politicians and also people in the business sector, historically use the gangs to advance their own interest. And on top of that, you also have a gun trafficking problem that is, caused by lack of policies and also, the deficiencies of the Haitian state. Most guns in Haiti right now that are implicated in these crimes can be traced back, to the U.S. And these are numbers coming from the U.S. Justice Department. So, in the past, let's say 7 to 8 years, let's say the two, last presidents that we had, Jovenel Moïse was assassinated, but his predecessor, who picked him to become president under Michel Martelly, the situation, plunged even further into more chaos. And today we are, witnessing a total breakdown of the rest of the institutions that was, still standing in Haiti. We talked about, the biggest penitentiary center in Haiti, being attacked by the gangs. And my own reporting is showing that the police officers did not resist a lot when the gangs surrounded the place, and in the course of them fleeing, they left doors open, and people, including some of the worst criminals, left the place. The morale in the police, that's something people don't talk really about, is at an all-time low. I have sources in the Haitian National Police today that tells me, dozens choose to stay home or to kind of protect themselves because, the gangs are all powerful.
Right. So, and that corroborates what Florian Demoiselle just said about the tension felt by that patrol that they followed. Renata Segura, listening to Viglor, you think back to January when the whole world was stunned when drug gangs in Ecuador organized a massive prison break. This, though, is on a whole nother scale.
It is definitely on a whole other scale, and I think the international community was preparing a response to the type of violence that we had been seeing in Haiti, as has been said for years, but particularly increasing since the assassination of President Moïse. But really the situation is changing dramatically by the hour. And since the attack of the gangs to the police, the stations, to the jails, to the airport, we really are looking at a very, very different stage to which this multinational mission that was mentioned in the report should be arriving. It really is a completely different situation that the Kenyans had signed for, and that is going to require an accelerated response from the international community overall.
Why didn't the international community react in 2021 after the assassination of the president?
Well, the international community has reacted in some way, and the creation of this multinational support mission approved by the UN, by being led by Kenya, is that response. It has been, though, a fairly slow response. I think in part the difficulty has been this very difficult history of international intervention in Haiti, which has not always resolved well. And the Haitians, for understandably reasons, have requested that anything that happens has to be led by the Haitians themselves. At the core of the issue has been a difficulty to create a transitional government that really has the support of the majority of the people. And without that government, without a transitional government that really reflects all of Haitians, it has been difficult for the international community to give the national police in Haiti the support that it needs. Very, very understandably, a lot of countries were saying, we don't want to send troops to a country if they are going to be seen by the population as just instrument to keep in power a man that is highly illegitimate. So it took a lot of back and forth to try to put together this mission that is hopefully going to arrive into Haiti soon, but also to try and craft a political agreement that really responded to the needs of all Haitians. And Prime Minister Henry, we have to say, has not been very cooperative on that front until right now. We'll have to see how the next few days evolve in this sense when, as we are hearing on the ground, there is a new political pact taking shape in Haiti, which hopefully creates a transitional government that can provide full support for this mission to arrive in the coming days.
Yeah, and we promised Anna Di Telemac that we would talk about the bid to try to form some kind of a legitimate governance for Haiti to welcome the international community. Before we get to that, though, we have a lot of viewers in Kenya watching us. Do you see Kenyan police coming to Haiti under the current circumstances?
I think that what Renata just said is very true. It means that Haitian people do not want any country to impose them a solution. They would like, of course, they will need, I think, the international community support, but this has to be co-built with the Haitian population, which is now in a situation where they are experiencing the darkest hours of their history.
Darker than the earthquake, darker than...
I mean, since then, a president has been assassinated in their country, and nothing happened really since, except commitments that provisional government would take over until election, until they would leave, it would leave, and then organize election, which are not there. So, of course, this is generating a huge crisis, because if you don't fulfill the commitment you took, then how does a population which is in need with everything, water, electricity, food, now security, the population in your very interesting documentary, there was a woman saying, we are helpless, we need everything, and more of that, we live in fear because there is no security, there is no stability.
This was filmed a few weeks ago. Back then, did you go to see the office of the Prime Minister? Did you have a feeling that there was someone in charge?
Not really. I mean, nothing is working except him. I mean, the parliament.
Ariel Henry.
Yeah, except Ariel Henry. I mean, the parliament is not working. Nothing is working. There's no president. He's just the only one. So, except Ariel Henry, nothing exists now in Haiti. But what we are seeing now, we heard about it when we were in Haiti. We met Barbecue when we were there. It's not in the report. And he has this political speech for a while saying that he wants to do the revolution and doing the revolution through gathering all the gangs together. And this is what we see now, just to take Ariel Henry out of his office. And so there were some rumors that it was going to take place when we were there, but they waited for the Prime Minister just to go out of the country and go to Kenya to do what they're doing today.
Yeah, Barbecue, Jimmy Cherizier, a 46-year-old former policeman. He's, among all the gang leaders, the one who's drawn the most attention. On Tuesday, he warned of civil war if Ariel Henry, who's now in Puerto Rico, unable to return to his own country, does not resign. Laurent Berstecker explains.
We are fighting to topple the government of Ariel Henry by any means necessary.
He's been trying to bring down the government for years and could be getting close to achieving his goal. At 46 years old, gang leader Jimmy Cherizier has become one of Haiti's most feared and powerful figures. But the man who rarely appears without his automatic rifle wasn't always on the wrong side of the law. For 15 years, Cherizier worked as an officer of the Haitian National Police Force. But in 2018, he was fired over his alleged involvement in the massacre of civilians. And by 2020, he had taken the reins of a powerful criminal alliance dubbed the G9 family, with over 1,000 men under his command. Nicknamed Barbecue for his alleged tendency to burn his opponents alive, which he denies, Cherizier has repeatedly claimed he was not a gangster, but a revolutionary fighting against the elite.
We are fighting against a system that allows rich people to make millions of dollars, while the rest of us sleep with the pigs.
And for Jimmy Barbecue Cherizier, no one embodies the corrupt elite more than Haitian Prime Minister Ariel Henry. In 2022, the G9 alliance blocked a major fuel terminal in the capital, piling pressure on the government. And in recent days, Cherizier's men led coordinated attacks against the airport, a police academy, and several prisons, freeing thousands of inmates. The cop-turned-gang leader is now threatening to plunge the country into civil war if the prime minister doesn't step down.
So, Florian Demoiselle, you met with Jimmy Cherizier, a.k.a. Barbecue.
Yes, we did.
What does he want? Does he want to be the power behind the throne, or does he want the throne?
I mean, it's not really clear exactly, but we had, I mean, I had the impression that the gangs were used in the past by politicians, I mean, for their own interest. And now, you don't know who is behind him. Does he have, is there anyone behind him? You don't know, but you see him that like he's really confident. He wants power, and he's not afraid of assuming it now. So, we don't really.
Yeah, he's confident enough to say that he wants to overthrow the government, and he doesn't say that he wants the power for himself. He doesn't say this, but he's powerful now.
Renata Segura, what does Barbecue want?
Barbecue has been for quite a while now presenting himself as a political leader. That obviously clashes with the terrible things that the gang that he leads and his allies have imposed on the Haitian people. So there are plenty of reasons why to doubt that this is true. But in a press conference that he gave a couple nights ago, he did apologize to the Haitians for what had been done to them. And he's really speaking beyond Haiti to the international community, asking that he is seen as an interlocutor. You would imagine that he might want, as he had asked in the past, to be, for example, a member of cabinet, which is something that he has specifically requested in the past. How much appetite there's going to be from the international community to allow something like that. Let's remember that Cherizier has been included in the sanctions lists of the UN and the US. It seems implausible that would be something that happens. However, what he might be thinking is that he wants to position himself such that if the mission does arrive and there is a situation where there is a possibility of a negotiation with the gangs, then he might get some demobilization benefits. For example, keeping a lot of the money that he has been able to collect from extortions and kidnappings, and perhaps negotiating a very light jail sentence, if a sentence at all. It is difficult to really judge a character like him, who used to be part of the police, clearly messianic, with quite a high self. But the reality is that he is not going to go away quietly. I think it is also important to know that Cherizier is so important right now because he has been acting in concert with other gangs, right? Like he has really relived this alliance called Vive Ensemble that has enabled him and others to really put the state against the corner as it is at this right moment. But we also need to remember that these alliances are fragile, that these men have egos of their own, and they could start fighting each other again as they were doing just a few weeks ago. So the political capital that he has at this moment seems very high because of these alliances, but we don't know that that is something that is really going to hold once the situation sort of normalizes a little bit. How much do these gangs are really creating a joint group that's going to be engaging in conversations or even in combat together, and how long that will last is something that we need to see.
So, Vidlor Mirancourt, there you hear, on the one hand, Renata Segura talking about the alliance of gangs, albeit fragile, that's we're witnessing right now. You heard earlier Anne-Élodie Télémac talking about how civil society, politicians are trying to coalesce to find a credible leadership to take over the country after Ariel Henry. What's the feeling?
Well, I'd like to stress that, it is very important to say when, people like Jimmy Cherizier is talking about a revolution to kind of free the country from corrupt politicians and extremely corrupt business leaders. It's a rhetoric because there is no evidence of that on the ground. His coalition of gangs attacking, normal people, kidnapping, normal citizens, and attacking, destroying even small businesses. That's the first thing. The second thing is I'm hearing in so many international media that the opposition to the government comes from Jimmy Cherizier or Guy Philippe, who was in prison in the U.S. A couple of months back. I don't think this narrative is true. The Prime Minister Ariel Henry is a very deeply unpopular figure in Haiti. He's contested by the vast majority of Haitians. And if actually people agree on one thing today, is Ariel Henry is not, an effective leader in Haiti. So what happened in the last couple of days to make someone like, Jimmy Cherizier to rise against the government is probably, that's a theory, it's probably the fact that, they are deeply opposed to the deployment of a multinational force in Haiti that would come and, make it extremely difficult for them to attack the civil population in Haiti. So how does it feel like right now to be in Haiti? I'm not sure I understand the question. Do you mean?
Well, what's the feeling more in terms of who can come together? Is there an alternative to the gangs that's emerging?
Well, quite frankly, Haitian politicians and civil society leaders have been trying for about 4 years, even before, the assassination of the president, to build together
sorry about that. The line is cutting out there with Port-au-Prince. We're going to try to reconnect with Vidlor Mirancourt. Is there so there's unanimity that be it the gangs or ordinary citizens, people are tired of Ariel Henry, whose mandate has long expired. So is there a credible alternative?
I believe there is. Hopefully there will be. To my point of view, what we can really say is really that state institutions are obviously overwhelmed by events, that the population is fed up with the situation, so gangs are now taking weapons and trying to control the country, or at least the capital, which is not, it can't be the solution. Fire has to cease. It's urgent. Action is urgently needed to avoid first human.
So what do you do? Do you have, like in El Salvador, a strong man who comes in and throws a lot of people in jail?
What I would say is that where there is an alternative is that the civil society is thinking about building up a proposal as an alternative. And to face this situation, some people are calling rapid Haitian solution to that multidimensional crisis. And they are suggesting, for example, there is a group, and it's really brand new, I would say. Yesterday, for the first time, there has been the disclosure of a proposal which would consist in a three-member national governing council that could take in charge the country's governance. This council would be headed by maybe the two forces that are now trying to oppose to those gang controls, which mean the commander-in-chief of the army, who is really trying to take over. I mean, the airport for the time being is under the control of the army, hopefully. Okay, and then the second member could be the Director General of the National Police of Haiti, which is governing a corps of 9,000 people who are armed and who can help to calm down the country and to stop. I mean, to help to cease fire, because otherwise it will go to a civil war. I mean, if guns are talking,
is it already there? Because I asked the question because your report mentions that there are civil defense groups in some neighborhoods.
Yes, exactly. Especially in Canapé Vert, it's a neighbor in Port-au-Prince. We met them, and of course, I mean, we interviewed them and. They give us the impression that they are hopeless. They don't believe anymore in the government, and it's hard for them also to believe in the police. Not because they have a problem with the police, but they witness the fact that the police is not able to deal with the gangs. So, if the police can't deal with the gangs, they say, okay, maybe we are part of the solution and we want to manage it. But the thing is that, I mean, they are not. I mean, the population also committed like a crime in April because like they burned people who were suspected to be gang members, but these people weren't judged or anything. They were just like killed and burned in the streets. So that's the danger. I mean. Everything is collapsing.
People taking the law into their own hands. We were mentioning earlier that ever since 2021 and the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse, they've been talking about an international police force. The Biden administration feeling that Prime Minister Henry has been dragging his heels. Just listen, for instance, to the White House spokesperson, Karine Jean-Pierre, herself of Haitian heritage, when she was asked about the fact that Ariel Henry is in Puerto Rico right now and unable to return home.
So we are not providing any assistance to help the Prime Minister certainly return to Haiti. We're not going to speak to his travel. That is something for him to speak to.
What we've asked the Haitian Prime Minister to do is move forward on a political process that will lead to the establishment of a presidential transitional council that will lead to elections. And we think that is urgent, that he moves forward in that direction and start the process of bringing normalcy back to the people of Haiti.
All right, and by the way, the Miami Herald has seen a U.S. government document that calls for Ariel Henry to step down, quote, when the new government structures have been established, either or, this multinational security support, this international police force deploys whichever is first. The newspaper reports that Biden's team has lost faith in Henry's ability to lead after repeated pointed conversations with the prime minister over his unwillingness to cede real power. Asked whether the administration could envision a scenario in which Henry remained in authority, the official said, quote, I find that unlikely. But how much clout, Renata Segura, does the United States have?
Oh, enormous amount of clout. I mean, we really have to understand that Henry has only been in power this long because the U.S. has been insisting in his staying there. And so with this signaling that they might finally lose faith on Henry really changes everything. You know, we have been seeing these conversations around the creation of the joint the joint government that will have a prime minister and a presidential council. These conversations have been on the table for a very long time. And there's been multiple processes, some led by CARICOM, some by private mediators, in which they've tried to...
CARICOM is the Caribbean, just to explain for our viewers, the Caribbean regional body.
Yes, the Caribbean Community of Nations, so the regional organization that brings together all of the Caribbean governments. They had chosen a number of people that had been traveling to Haiti to try and come to an agreement, and either because of opposition from the Montana group and others in the opposition, or because of Henry, that had not taken place. Now, without the United States really putting its weight behind Henry, there's nothing that he has to really keeping him in power. Like his grasp on power was already extremely thin, and this signaling from the U.S. that they are apparently going to leave him stranded in Puerto Rico, apparently, it is just a sign that there's going to have to be a movement probably without him. This might be the thing that actually finally allows the Haitian counterparts to come together and bring a possibility of a government of unity that doesn't really keep this fighting between Henry and his people and the rest of the parties and civil society. And that, I think, would be significantly important. It is very difficult to separate governance from security in the case of the Haitian crisis. And without tackling those two things simultaneously, we're not going to be able to address the enormous humanitarian catastrophe that is happening in Haiti. And that should be obviously the one thing that we keep in mind above all. Half of the Haitian people don't have enough food to go, to eat every day. There's no access to schools, to health services. So this is an indispensable thing that it happens.
Yeah, just stressing that point is the United Nations. The international community clearly of two minds when it comes to sending soldiers or police. And Haiti needs, as Renata was saying, to feed its citizens, not just the 360,000 that are displaced.
As a reminder, 5.5 million people, that's nearly half of Haiti's population, need humanitarian assistance. This year's $674 million humanitarian appeal for Haiti is just 2.5% funded. That means it has received only $17 million.
How do you get the world's attention?
Yes, I think that regarding that idea, that proposal that is supported by the population already, even the Catholic Church and the Protestant Church is thinking about how to put up that council with a mission that would, I was talking about the army, the police, but what is also the third member of that council could be the most ancient judge of the Supreme Court.
So if this semblance of order returns and the gang leaders are asking for Ariel Henry to go, isn't that going to be bad news for them? Why are they asking for him to go if what you're suggesting is a return to law and order?
What I'm saying is that it would be really time for dialogue, to put the weapons down, to avoid to go further into that crisis, and to think about how a mission of that council could be set up. So there would be a transitional government made up with technicians. That council could appoint a constituent assembly to draw up a new constitution, because the Haitian constitution is contested for decades. And that council could also set up a provisional electoral council, because what the population wanted was these elections to take place, and they didn't take place. So this is very important that those elections takes place within a certain time, like 24 months maximum, or 18 months, that something is put in place so that those elections can take place. And the Haitian population, knowing the situation they are in, they can't. It's not the revolution that will help them to move forward, to build their future. So, of course, there will be a need to have the support of CARICOM, as Renata was talking about the international community like the USA and France, because, of course, Haiti has always been a zone of influence for the United States.
So the need for the international community.
There's a need to work together.
First step, though, is, of course, restoring law and order to its streets. I want to thank you so much, Anne-Élodie Télémac.
You're welcome.
I want to thank Vidlor Mérancourt for being with us from Port-au-Prince, Renata Segura as well, and Florian Demoiselle, Marc de Chalvron. You've got a longer piece coming out for
next week on
the investigative news program Envoyé Spécial. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for joining us here in the France 24 debate.
Welcome to Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report. I'm Amy Goodman. A Gaza ceasefire before the start of Ramadan appears increasingly unlikely after Hamas delegates left Cairo talks without an agreement after accusing Israel of thwarting efforts put forward by mediators. Hamas says negotiations will nonetheless continue. Israel reportedly boycotted the recent talks. The official death toll in Gaza has topped 30,800 in the 5 months since Israel's assault began. At least another 72,000 Palestinians have been wounded. The group Refugees International's warning Israel's persistent blocking of humanitarian aid into Gaza has created apocalyptic conditions inside the besieged territory. At least 20 Gazans have starved to death, the youngest victim a day old. As a number of countries have started conducting airdrops into Gaza, the World Food Program cautioned airdrops are a last resort and will not avert famine, they said. This is a soup kitchen volunteer in Rafah.
Our hearts are being squeezed when a child comes over and says, I want to have rice and chicken. We are unable to provide rice, let alone chicken, in the light of the war that we are experiencing. This is not only a war on civilians, it is a war on food, on starvation. People here in the Gaza Strip cannot find bread to eat.
South Africa has requested the International Court of Justice take additional emergency measures in Gaza, including ordering a ceasefire. South Africa brought the genocide case against Israel at the ICJ. It said, quote, the threat of all-out famine has now materialized. The court needs to act now to stop the imminent tragedy, unquote. Canada says it will resume funding to UNRWA after it halted support for the UN agency in January following Israeli claims 12 UNRWA staff were involved in the October 7th attacks. 16 countries suspended their funding for the agency, bringing it close to collapse amidst the spiraling humanitarian disaster in Gaza. Meanwhile, a new investigation by the Washington Post reveals the Biden administration has quietly approved over 100 weapons sales to Israel, while publicly calling for restraint and decrying the mounting civilian death toll. We'll have more on that story later in the broadcast. U.S. military officials said Wednesday a Houthi missile attack on a commercial ship in the Gulf of Aden killed at least 3 people. It's the first known deaths as a result of the Houthi campaign against Israel and U.S.-linked vessels. The ship that was attacked appears to have been Barbados-flagged, Greece-operated, and Liberia-owned. U.S. and U.K. forces have launched multiple attacks inside Yemen since the Houthi strike started in protest of Israel's war on Gaza. Here in New York, a delegation of Palestinian Americans who've lost relatives to Israeli attacks in Gaza joined UN Palestinian envoy Riyad Mansour at a UN Security Council press conference Wednesday. This is Dr. Rula El-Farah, who lost over 150 family members since October 7th.
In December, one of our family members, Sabri al-Farra, was murdered in his home by an Israeli airstrike with his 9 young children. His unfortunate wife survived. She was 8 months pregnant. She was displaced to an evacuation camp where she
Anoche fue una situación muy difícil. La prisión, el motín, ¿sí? Corría peligro en nuestras vidas. Lo que hicimos fue resguardarnos. Muchos disparos, estábamos temerosos por nuestras vidas. Nosotros los colombianos no debemos nada, nos quedamos en nuestras celdas.
¿Por qué tú no decides a salir de este paso?
¿Por qué no nos fuimos? Porque nosotros no tenemos que escapar de nadie.
¿Cómo tú te llamas?
Nosotros no debemos nada.
¿Cómo tú te llamas?
Nosotros no tenemos que escapar de nada porque nosotros no debemos nada. Aquí nos quedamos.
JODIA la Ariel s'est dit passé, nous pas reconnaître moun ça encore, nous besoin unir tête nous ensemble pour que nous gagnons Haïti demain. Merci.
Comment
nonprofit pausing supply missions to Haiti, all because of gang violence in that country. The Anais-based group, Agape Flights, says it will keep its planes on the ground until the threat calms down. The group regularly sends supplies for folks in Haiti who need them. Officials say gang leaders have attacked government-run sites, including Haiti's main airport. The government has declared a state of emergency.
Coming out of Haiti, gangs in that area are trying to overthrow the government there. And that's forced one local group out in Florida to put their work on hold, delivering life-saving supplies. Fox 13 Tampa's Matthew McClellan joining us live this morning with an update. Matthew, good morning to you. You actually just spoke with the group.
Gina, good morning. Yeah, and this group is in a holding pattern. We'll have more from them in just a second. But one human rights expert on Haiti this week saying, look, I've never, ever seen it this bad. He says the situation there absolutely catastrophic, and this is the reason that we're seeing this nonprofit group, Agape Flights, based out of Venice, about 60 miles to the south of Tampa, delaying a mission supply flight to Haiti that was planned for today, also delaying some flights there that were scheduled for tomorrow. The group helps deliver life-saving medical supplies and food to people in need, and its CEO says he reluctantly made this decision to temporarily suspend operations after speaking with a senior official in Haiti's aviation authority. Agape Flight says considering this week's attacks on Port-au-Prince Airport, as well as the potential for violence at other airport locations, the group will wait to fly until the situation on the ground is more stable. The nonprofit sharing this photo late Wednesday, a group of parents and children who fled the violence in the capital. They have clean clothes, they have food, but missionaries on the ground say there's not a lot to smile about.
Even around the country, they're just waiting to see what's going to transpire with both the interim prime minister coming back into the country, if he's coming back or not, who's going to be in control. So there's a lot of anticipation as well as tension mounting there because of the unrest and the unanswered questions.
The situation continuing to deteriorate with highly organized gangs attacking political targets like police stations and prisons. And on Tuesday, they tried taking over the main airport in the capital. Gang leaders, Gine, now making it clear their ultimate goal is to overthrow the government of Prime Minister Ariel Henry. When this group, Agape Flights, is able to return to their operations, whether they'll be able to resume on, say, Monday or even over the weekend, that remains to be seen. But of course, they're looking out for their teams and their missionary affiliates there in Haiti. They want everybody to be able to stay safe amid all of this uncertainty and unrest and violence. Gina.
Matt, just so much going on in the world. I want to ask you, this organization, they are familiar with going out in different areas and providing aid, but have they spoken to you about any concerns of safety so that they can get back to their loved ones?
Right, so this group, Agape Flights, does not have staff on the grounds. Their operation typically consists of flying in and out of these airports to deliver those supplies. So it's really almost like a drop-off with these airports being targets right now. In Haiti, also in the Dominican Republic, you're seeing some similar activity. These groups just are not able to safely land and take off when there's the threat of a plane being ambushed, for example, by the gangs that are targeting these airports.
Matt McClellan there with Fox 13 Tampa. Matt, thank you for putting things into perspective. It's always very stellar and detailed reporting. Thank you so much for joining us this morning on Live Now from Fox. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Anytime.
This morning, the State Department is warning Americans in Haiti to leave as soon as possible. Violence in Haiti has spiraled out of control with armed gangs attacking police stations and prisons and actually setting thousands of inmates free. Haiti's prime minister has been unable to return from a trip abroad because the main airport has also been targeted. The U.S. Embassy says it is not able to help Americans with air travel at this time. It's urging them to monitor local news reports and leave when security conditions and transportation options allow.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific on our streaming channel, Today All Day. To watch, head to today.com/allday or click the link right here.
An eye on your world today. We begin in Haiti, where gang leaders are threatening civil war if the country's prime minister does not resign. The UN says gangs now control around 80% of Haiti's capital, Port-au-Prince. And the UN's human rights chief says time is running out to prevent a slide into further chaos. Gangs have released thousands of inmates from 2 prisons to try and overthrow the government. The U.S. is calling on Prime Minister Ariel Henry to hurry and establish a presidential transition council that'll lead to elections. Mr. Henry was supposed to return to Haiti days ago, but gangs have swarmed the airport ahead of his arrival. At last check, the Haitian prime minister was in Puerto Rico.
U.S. citizens are being told to leave Haiti as soon as possible due to the current security situation there. That urging coming from the U.S. Embassy after 2 of the country's largest prisons were raided by armed gangs, which ended up freeing more than 4,000 inmates last weekend. Haiti's government issued a state of emergency on Sunday and has imposed nightly curfews.
Tonight, Haiti is on the brink of civil war as it spirals into chaos. The U.S., along with a group of Caribbean nations, is pressing Haiti's prime minister to speed up a political transition. Ariel Henry had been missing for days but landed yesterday in Puerto Rico. Clashes between heavily armed gangs and Haitian police have escalated after a mass prison break over the weekend. The White House says it will not send in American troops.
We have underscored that now is the time to finalize a political accord to help set Haiti on a path to a better future.
Right now, the near future looks bleak. Henry took office following the 2021 assassination of Haiti's president. We were there as the violence ramped up. This has become daily life here in Haiti. Tires burning on city streets, protesters furious. Now, gangs control about 80% of Port-au-Prince. The State Department is urging all Americans to leave immediately, but the main airport is shut down. In Miami, Haitian Americans are scrambling to evacuate loved ones.
Human beings should live in a peace, not in a crime like that.
Tony Jantano says his uncle went to visit his mother in Haiti, but now gang members are holding him for ransom.
Your family is calling you, crying when you're about to sleep. This is crazy. This is terrible.
Right now, it is not clear whether Haiti's embattled prime minister plans to return to the country. The White House said today it is not helping him in Puerto Rico. Lester?
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.
Avant yon tap pou rentre nou, nou kle de yon chwazi chita nou pale, epi nou dek.
Oh. Mwen chè yon ti pizza, no?
Ahead of today's Security Council meeting, I call once again for the urgent deployment with no further delay of the multinational security support mission in Haiti to support the national police and bring security to the Haitian people.
All right, everyone. I don't have anything from the top, so.
Really?
Matt,
you don't have anything at the top?
I have. Calling on you counts as something, so.
Well, yeah, not much. All right.
It's your assessment, not
I've
mine.
got-
I don't share that
I have
assessment.
several brief ones in alphabetical order, and my colleagues should feel free to interrupt if they have anything on these. My alphabetical order are Haiti, Houthis, and Gaza.
Okay.
Starting with Haiti, what is the situation with Prime Minister Henry? The report that you guys want him out. Is that correct? I understand that your ambassador to the UN spoke to this earlier, but wondering what you have to say about it.
So let me start by just saying, generally, the United States has long worked with CARICOM and Haitian leaders on the path to restoring democratic order in Haiti through free and fair elections, inclusive governance, and power sharing, which will give them the opportunity to democratically elect a prime minister. And as the situation on the ground grows increasingly dire, we in CARICOM have continued to call on stakeholders, including the prime minister, to make concessions in the interest of the Haitian people. So we are not calling on him or pushing for him to resign, but we are urging him to expedite the transition to an empowered and inclusive governance structure that will move with urgency to help the country prepare for a multinational security support mission to address the security situation and pave the way for free and fair elections.
Okay, so what's your understanding of where he is now and his efforts to get back to the country?
So I will let him speak to his travel plans and his location.
All right, well, look, the U.S. has a long and very difficult history with Haiti. And going back long before you or I were born, decades and decades and decades. But also in my time at the State Department, I was there when you guys organized the quote-unquote evacuation of Prime Minister. So how far are you guys prepared to go in pushing or telling Prime Minister Henry that he needs to either start the transition or get out of the way so that the transition can start?
So we are going to continue to work with CARICOM, because I think it's important to make clear that it's not the United States acting alone in this with this regard. It's the United States in consultation with partners in the region are having these conversations. And what we are saying to the Prime Minister is that he needs to expedite the transition to an empowered and inclusive governance, including the appointment of a transition council. So that's what we'll continue to discuss with him.
If anyone else has anything on Haiti,
could I ask a couple things?
I know you're not confirming his whereabouts, but is he welcome in the United States? I mean, can Prime Minister Henry stay in the United States, in U.S. territory?
I'm just not going to speak to his travel plans at all. I think it's appropriate for him to make those announcements.
And also, I mean, could you flesh it out a little bit more to a new governance structure? Is that something? Is there something concrete that's in mind? I mean, there's obviously ideas from CARICOM and elsewhere, but is there sort of a concrete plan, or is this more just generally speaking that something needs to change?
I don't want to speak to it in detail from here, because it's something we're in conversation with partners in the region about at this time. But we have always been clear that there needs to be a transition to free and fair elections in Haiti, and we have been clear that we need to see the deployment of a multinational security support mission to address the dire security situation on the ground. So we are continuing to work through both of those things. We are making progress on deploying the MSS. We want to see that happen as soon as possible, and we are also in, as I said, in conversation with partners in the region about how to transition back to the path to democracy.
And just one more, the new governance structure, is that, and the elections, I mean, the call for elections, do those go in tandem? Is there an idea that you need to have elections of this new governance structure, or is there an idea that there needs to be something that changes right now even before?
I just don't want to get into details, but of course we are looking to get to back on the path to elections in the country, as well as to security.
There's no more on Haiti. I just want to go to the Houthis. And you've seen that there's been, CENTCOM has put out a statement about fatalities. These are apparently the first fatalities. Do you have anything to say about this incident?
I think that it was sadly inevitable. The Houthis have continued to launch these reckless attacks with no regard for the well-being of innocent civilians who are transiting through the Red Sea, and now they have unfortunately and tragically killed innocent civilians. And so the United States will continue to hold the Houthis accountable for their attacks, which have not just disrupted international commerce, not just disrupted the freedom of navigation in international waters, and not just endangered seafarers, but now tragically killed a number of them. So we will continue to hold them accountable, and we call on governments around the world to do the same. Anything else?
Go.
Police nationale d'Haïti, militaire, pour yo prendre responsabilité yo, arrêter Ariel Henry et encore une fois et pas peuple qui est le pas les gazam qui est le arrêter Ariel Henry pour nous libérer pays ça dans projet loi 69. Zam ça yo, nous pas gagner pour faire nous dans même couche sociale avec normal. Malgré si on prend la guerre, faire nous confiance. Zam ça c'est symbole liberté nous, zam ça c'est avec nous. On malgré qui après balle, ce que nous déplorons. On malheureux qui chercher la vie après balle.
Starting with Haiti, what is the situation with Prime Minister Henry? The report that you guys want him out. Is that correct?
We are not calling on him or pushing for him to resign, but we are urging him to expedite the transition to an empowered and inclusive governance structure that will move with urgency to help the country prepare for a multinational security support mission to address the security situation and pave the way for free and fair elections.
Okay, so what's your understanding of where he is now and his efforts to get back to the country?
So I will let him speak to his travel plans and his location.
A Haitian gang leader is threatening civil war and genocide if the country's prime minister does not step down. Haiti has seen widespread gang violence over the last week, with attacks on prisons and even the international airport there in Port-au-Prince. The nation's prime minister, Ariel Henry, landed in Puerto Rico last night. He was in Kenya when violence first broke out. Henry and Kenya's president signed agreements last week to send Kenyan police officers to Haiti to take on the gangs. For more, we're going to bring in Jacqueline Charles. She's the Haiti and Caribbean correspondent for the Miami Herald. Jacqueline, thanks for your time today. Just bring us up to speed on the big picture of why gangs are taking issue with Ariel Henry. And I'm wondering if there's any indication as to who or what they want to replace him with.
Well, you're asking a very important question, and that's what everybody in the international community who have been following Haiti are asking. What we do know is that they are opposed to any outside international force. So the fact that this violence blew up while Ariel Henry was in Kenya signing what Kenyan President William Ruto says is the final step that's needed in order to begin that deployment is quite interesting in terms of the timing. What we've seen is that they have targeted key government infrastructures, not just the country's two largest prisons, where there was a prison break. More than 4,000 prisoners have escaped, including some notorious gang members. They've looted hospitals. They've looted banks. They've flown a drone over the presidential palace and saying that that's next. And meanwhile, Ariel Henry, who was trying to get back into the country on yesterday and trying to land in the Dominican Republic, he was not given clearance, so he had to go to Puerto Rico. And the Miami Herald today just broke an exclusive story that the U.S. is now pressuring him to step down.
The U.S., you're saying, the Miami Herald reporting, pressuring the Haitian prime minister to step down amid all this chaos and what seems like a destabilizing of security. Tell us more about his efforts to get back into the country. And I'm wondering, if he can't get back in, and if the U.S. wants him to step down, who's in charge?
Well, so there is an acting prime minister who is the Minister of Finance, who has been in charge while Henry was visiting Kenya and basically passing instructions. For instance, the 72-hour state of emergency and curfew that was put in. He was on his way from the U.S. to the Dominican Republic in a charter plane because the airports have been closed. And the gangs, as we know, they tried to take over the airport. There was a firefight the day before, and they basically thought that they would be allowed to land in the DR, which had given clearance, but 30 minutes before that plane was supposed to land, the Dominican Republic did not provide clearance, and they had to make a decision on where to go. That decision was to land in Puerto Rico. While he was en route to Puerto Rico, he was basically sent a proposal by the State Department that would call for setting up a new government structure in Haiti, handing power over to a transition government, including someone who would have presidential powers and that would name a new prime minister to replace him. He would remain as prime minister until either that individual has been named or this multinational security support mission arrived. And we still do not know when that deployment would happen because we're being told that Republicans in Congress are blocking the funding that's being requested by the Biden administration to get that operation off the ground.
So many layers to this, and meantime, so many Haitians, millions, are just trying to live their lives and go about their business. But we appreciate you giving us this comprehensive update. Jacqueline Charles, we appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Armed gangs tried to seize control on Monday of Haiti's international airport in their latest attack on government sites. At the weekend, gangs stormed two of the country's largest prisons, freeing around 4,000 prisoners. A key player is gang leader and former elite police officer Jimmy Cherizier, also known as Barbecue. Prime Minister Ariel Henry arrived in Puerto Rico on Tuesday. His whereabouts had been unknown for a few days. Before that, he was in Kenya, rallying support for a UN-backed security mission to help stabilize Haiti.
Because of the violence, we cannot go to election. And one of the things that we aim is to have elections.
Henry has promised to hold elections before, and that's not been upheld. The Prime Minister has shrugged off calls for him to resign and didn't comment when asked if he felt it was safe to come home.
We want to talk about Haiti now because the situation there is deteriorating with highly organized gangs apparently attacking political targets such as police stations and prisons. Gang leaders now making it clear their ultimate goal is to overthrow the government of Prime Minister Ariel Henry.
We will fight until the last drop of blood. I am ready to make an alliance with the devil, ready to sleep in the same bed as the devil.
The Biden administration says it's concerned the fighting could escalate, possibly leading to a new flood of Haitian migrants coming to the U.S. They're now pinning their hopes on a UN peacekeeping mission led by police from Kenya.
Turning to Haiti, the Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs report that the escalation of violence in several neighborhoods in the capital Port-au-Prince has led to some 1,500 people being forced to flee their homes. Most of these people had already been displaced previously. Despite the security constraints, our humanitarian partners on the ground have begun to respond to these new displacements by providing food, hygiene, and health kits, mattresses, blankets, and sheets, as well as lamps. The World Food Program says its partners have delivered some 5,500 hot meals and some 3,000 people living in the 3 new displacement sites, while the International Organization for Migration has started distributing emergency shelter material to more than 3,000 families. The humanitarian community in Haiti calls on all sides to put an immediate stop to the violence, to allow safe access to the people in need, and respect human rights and humanitarian norms and standards. As a reminder, 5.5 million people, that's nearly half of Haiti's population, need humanitarian assistance. This year's $674 million humanitarian appeal for Haiti is just 2.5% funded. That means it has received only $17 million. The Secretary General is, of course, deeply concerned about the rapidly deteriorating security situation in Haiti and its impact on Haitian civilians. He calls for an urgent action, particularly in providing financial support for the multinational security support mission, which, as a reminder, is not a UN peacekeeping force. This force will need to address the pressing security requirements of the Haitian people and prevent the country from plunging into further chaos. He also calls on the government of Haiti and other political actors to swiftly agree to the necessary steps to advance the political process towards the restoration of democratic institutions through the holding of elections.
Haiti's Prime Minister Ariel Henry landed in Puerto Rico on Tuesday. This clears uncertainty around his whereabouts since a trip to Kenya. But question remains on how and when he will return to Haiti, as gangs back home push for his ouster. Gang leader Jimmy Cherissier, also known as Barbecue, said on Tuesday that the country would plunge into a civil war that will end in genocide if Henry remains in power. He added that the federation that gathers Haitian gangs, Regroupement Vivre Ensemble, would fight to topple Henry and establish a new system in Haiti. Henry traveled to Kenya last week to seal a deal to launch a UN-backed multinational security force to fight gangs in Haiti. It sparked violence and calls by a top gang leader for him to step down and stay away from the country. Haiti's government declared a state of emergency on Sunday after inmates escaped in 2 major prison breaks, halting businesses including airports, which have seen heavy gunfires take place near them in recent days. The United Nations Immigration Office said over the weekend that at least 15,000 people had been displaced due to violence. Since the assassination of President Jovenel Moïse in 2021, violent gangs have expanded control of their territory. Henry, who leads an unelected interim government, had pledged to step down by February, but delayed the process, citing lack of security.
La presse.
The situation in Haiti seems to be getting worse. I'm wondering what your current understanding of things are there and where the Prime Minister is, and if you can get back.
So, as I said yesterday, we are monitoring Haiti's rapidly deteriorating security situation with grave concern. We are working with international partners and Congress to provide immediate support to the Haitian National Police and expedite the deployment of the multinational security support mission that will help restore security urgently. And I'll just reiterate what we said previously. We urge all actors to put the people of Haiti first, stop the violence, and make the necessary concessions to allow for inclusive governance, free and fair elections, and the restoration of democracy. And with respect to the whereabouts of Prime Minister Henry, I will let the Prime Minister speak to this.
Well, he seems somewhat indisposed. So is he in the United States?
So we have remained in close contact with senior Haitian government officials.
Okay, so then you know where he is.
And I will,
Is
but
he in the United States?
I will let the Prime Minister speak to his own whereabouts. Yeah.
Just there's some of the gang leaders, one of them nicknamed Barbecue for the he's saying that basically the Prime Minister should be out. There should be a change of leadership in Haiti. What does the United States feel about this? Is the self-confidence that Prime Minister Henry is able to lead? Or what about the election call?
So I'll just reiterate what I said a moment ago, which is that we all urge all actors to put the people of Haiti first. Stop the violence. That would, of course, include these gangs that are responsible for the recent violence, and make the necessary concessions to allow for inclusive governance, free and fair elections, and the restoration of democracy.
Unrest in Haiti as the country declares a state of emergency. Several airlines, including American, JetBlue, have canceled flights to Haiti both today and tomorrow.
Yeah, Haiti's government saying that 2 prisons were overrun by gang members over the weekend. Nearly 4,000 inmates are believed to have escaped. NBC6's Amanda Placencia is live tonight with local reaction. Amanda.
Yes, Trina, and after gang members orchestrated a violent prison break in Haiti over the weekend, the Haitian community here in South Florida, they're feeling the effects of that weekend's chaos.
Prison doors were wide open and cells were empty after armed gangs stormed 2 prisons in Port-au-Prince over the weekend. About 3,700 inmates escaped and at least 12 people were killed.
Unfortunately, what we saw this past weekend was Haiti getting worse. Whenever we think that we've seen Haiti at the lowest, something happens that is really sad, that shows us that we're not quite there yet.
Haitian advocate and immigration attorney Patricia Elise, who has family in the country, says its recent prison break reached a new level.
We now have more criminals, more kidnappers out in the streets. People are scared. Family members are scared, terrified. You have U.S. citizens and Haitians physically in the U.S. petrified as to what's happening to their families back at home.
Haiti is currently under a state of emergency as authorities have ordered a nighttime curfew to try and regain control of the streets. The violence has also presented immigration challenges. In January of last year, the Biden administration included Haiti in a humanitarian parole program to reunite families. But there's been a lot of delays with cases still pending.
Because of what's happening in Haiti, especially this past weekend, I really hope that the administration not only looks to prioritize humanitarian parole applications for Haitian families, especially those that have been pending for more than 6 months. It's really imperative that they try to adjudicate those.
Gang leaders have taken over more than 80% of the capital as their aim is to oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. Henry has been traveling abroad trying to get support for a United Nations-backed security force to help stabilize the nation.
The Haitian community should really rally and really push for a UN-backed security force to go to Haiti, because we really need it. We need that force to come in to give people some type of hope. There's no hope right now.
And the U.S. Embassy in Haiti has advised U.S. residents that are living in the country to leave the country. Haiti is also under a level 4 travel advisory. That is a do not travel advisory due to kidnappings.
Well, this morning, Haiti remains in a state of emergency as gangs have taken over parts of Port-au-Prince, paralyzing the capital, as hundreds of gang members are trying to seize control of Haiti's international airport. Those on the island remain pretty much stuck. The unrest causing Miami and Fort Lauderdale international airports to cancel all flights in and out of Haiti. The gangs are working together to release hundreds of prisoners now running free throughout the country.
In the last couple of days, what we are seeing is that the gangs are much more coordinated. They're talking to each other instead of fighting one another, and that has everyone concerned.
Well, they're calling for the resignation of the Prime Minister of Haiti as police and soldiers try to fight back, but they're just simply outnumbered. Since Friday, more than 15,000 people have been displaced as this unrest continues.
Haiti's army was called to patrol the international airport after reports of heavy gunfire and clashes with armed gangs in the area on Monday. Gang violence in the Caribbean nation is escalating despite a 72-hour state of emergency declared by the government on Sunday in response to a massive prison break over the weekend. Gangs themselves have warned residents in the capital Port-au-Prince to keep children home, although the government has kept schools open during the state of emergency. A fresh wave of gang violence last week forced around 15,000 people to flee the capital in just 3 days, according to the International Organization for Migration. Many of them had already been displaced, living in makeshift camps in schools and hospitals. Victims of gang violence living in this camp told Reuters armed gangs destroyed their homes, forcing them into overcrowded living conditions with limited access to water. The prison break over the weekend saw gangs break into 2 facilities, one of which is Haiti's largest prison. It allowed an unknown number of inmates to escape. Gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, a former police officer, has called on gangs to join forces and overthrow Prime Minister Ariel Henry, who has been out of the public eye since traveling to Kenya to discuss an international force to fight Haiti's gangs.
Haiti's government declared a state of emergency on Sunday, following violent clashes, damaged communications and 2 prison breaks. That as a major gang leader seeks to oust Prime Minister Ariel Henry. A curfew was imposed with immediate effect throughout the West Territory for 72 hours. A dramatic escalation in violence in the capital over the weekend saw armed groups break into the country's largest prison. It was unclear how many inmates were on the run. Sources close to the institution said it was likely an overwhelming majority. Built to hold 700 prisoners, it held 3,687 as of February last year, according to rights group RNDDH. When Reuters visited on Sunday, there were no signs of police officers and the main prison doors remained open. Gang leader Jimmy Cherizier, a former police officer, has called for criminal groups to unite and overthrow Henry. He warned locals to keep children from going to school to avoid collateral damages, as violence surged as the Prime Minister sought support abroad. Nearly 15,000 people have been forced to leave their homes in recent days, according to the UN International Organization for Migration. Prime Minister Henry had previously pledged to step down by February. He later said security must first be re-established in order to ensure free and fair elections.
There are mounting concerns that Haiti's government is edging closer to collapse. Gang leaders are calling on the prime minister to step down. He's currently out of the country. They're predicting chaos if he tries to return. The CBC's Evan Dyer has spent time in Haiti, and he described the violence threatening civil rule.
Really, there doesn't appear to be anyone governing Haiti from the Haitian government itself. The police, of course, are trying to maintain a lid on the fighting, which in the last few days has displaced, I should say the last couple of weeks, has displaced about 15,000 more people in Port-au-Prince and is also threatening the airport. And in fact, the airport has had to close. The last commercial airlines flying in and out of Haiti had to suspend operations. The police and the army, which is a very small army that was just reformed after being abolished and defunct for many years, are trying to take it back. The airport is not actually in the hands of the gangs, but the gangs have positions where they're able to shoot at the airport terminal and incoming aircraft, and so it's just considered too unsafe. So the real cause of concern from the point of view of the Ariel Henry government is that they simply can't get back into the country. And that is because Prime Minister Ariel Henry traveled to Kenya in order to sign an agreement required by the Kenyan parliament before Kenya would agree to deploy police officers into the country. Kenya has offered to lead a multinational force to try to restore order in Haiti, and it's going to be joined by some Caribbean nations who are also going to contribute, such as Jamaica. But all of these countries have said that that they want conditions to improve. They want the money that the UN has promised to pay to support this mission that's been offered by donor nations such as the US and Canada to actually be deposited in the bank before they will go. And on the way back from signing an agreement to allow Kenyan police to operate in Haiti, the Prime Minister's plane was diverted because the airport was lost. He was not able to land. He asked, we're told, the Dominican Republic for permission to land there, which of course shares the island of Hispaniola with Haiti. The idea being that he could land in Santo Domingo and then travel in the presidential helicopter into Haiti. But the Dominican Republic told him no. The Dominican Republic said its border and airspace with Haiti are closed and they will make no exceptions to allow Ariel Henry back in. No love between those two countries, no love lost, I should say, between those countries. The U.S. government has also refused to provide him with a military plane or escort to get back into Haiti, although we did just see the U.S. ambassador to the UN deny that they've told him to resign. There have been rumors that the U.S. has told him that he must go. Certainly CARICOM leaders, the leaders of the Caribbean community nations, appear to be giving him that message and telling him that if he wants their help to get back into Haiti, he has to recognize that his time is up. So Ariel Henry appears to have been deserted by his foreign backers, the ones who really put him in power, the governments of the U.S., the heads of the UN in Haiti, Canada, and so on, but also has really no domestic support at all. So it does appear very likely that the Ariel Henry government is now at an end.
And so, Evan, what might come next?
Well, there's a real vacuum of power in Haiti, and in fact has been for some time, because the country's been unable to hold any elections. So gradually, one by one, the mandates of every official in the country have expired, right down to the last 10 members of the Senate who still had a valid mandate. They've been essentially operating as unelected senators for the last couple of years. Every mayor in the country is in the same position. Ariel Henry himself has no democratic mandate. And his vice president, which is actually a very informal role, not recognized in the Haitian constitution at all, Emily Prophet, is also outside of the country. So there are people within the country who are angling to take power, and one of them is a former coup leader, Guy Philippe, who was involved in a coup that removed Jean-Bertrand Aristide from power about 20 years ago, who at that point did appear to have backing from the U.S., but who perhaps would be a little too controversial to step in now. But he returned to the country a couple of weeks ago and is angling for power. It's just not clear who is going to take over, but it does appear that the choice will be largely made by the foreign embassies, who pay the budget of the Haitian government, and the Haitian police, who are really the only force in Haiti that is currently capable of resisting, to some extent, resisting the gangs.
And for our next story, we head south to the Caribbean. A judge in Haiti has charged the widow of murdered President Jovenel Moïse in connection with the assassination of the former leader. The 122-page document has charged Martine Moïse with conspiring with former Prime Minister Claude Joseph for killing President Moïse. The judge said that Martine killed her husband with the intent of becoming Haiti's next president. And as we see now, the plot has certainly thickened. Here's our report.
It was the 7th of July in the year 2021. Haiti's 43rd president, Jovenel Moïse, was enjoying the calm Caribbean breeze. Moïse was spending the afternoon at his residence in the capital city of Port-au-Prince. Perched on top of a hill, Moïse could see rows of houses from his presidential residence. In an instant, the Haitian president's world turned bloody. 28 armed gunmen stormed the residence. 7 of them entered the bedroom where President Jovenel Moïse and his wife Martine were resting. Moïse was attacked and punched before being shot 12 times. His wife Martine was shot in the arms and thighs. The attack lasted a few minutes. Haiti had lost its president. President Jovenel Moïse was dead. This sent Haiti into a state of shock. Massive protests erupted. Thousands filled the streets of Port-au-Prince. They demanded justice, and so did the dead president's wife, Martine.
Hope that my husband will find justice. Every country that can help, please help, because the people that did that are still out there. And I don't know if their name will ever be out. But at some point, if they find the people that send the money the people that financially help, I think that they will find the people that give the order. So I will have hope that Jovenel Moise will have justice, and I won't stop asking for justice until justice is found.
Police officials sprung into action. 3 suspects were killed and at least 20 were arrested. Haiti officials said that most of the suspects were Colombian gang members. In addition, a Haitian businessman was sentenced to life for planning the assassination. It was almost a shut and sealed case until a judge issued an arrest warrant for Martin Moise. Dead President Jovenel Moise's case has been brought back to life. Now, a judge has accused his wife of planning the assassination. A 122-page document says that Martin Moise worked with former Prime Minister Claude Joseph to kill her husband. The judge claims that Martine got her husband killed because she wanted to be the next president of Haiti. The prosecutor has ordered the arrest and trial of Martine and Claude Joseph. At least 50 other people have been named in the warrant. Martin Moise and Claude Joseph have blamed the current administration and called the court's judgment a political play. Joseph says that the only person to benefit from President Jovenel Moise's death was his successor, Ariel Henry. The former Prime Minister says that Henry is carrying out a political coup against Martin Moise. Meanwhile, the judge says that the court works independently and is not influenced by the government. The case of the assassination of President Jovenel Moise has taken an unusual twist. It has gotten murkier with no sight of justice. Haiti continues to suffer from gang violence, but the case of President Moise had brought hope to the people. They thought the assassination would unite everyone against criminals. Instead, it has created political rifts. And now a power struggle is out in the open. Will President Jovenel Moise get justice? Or will this be another victory for gangs, mafia and criminals? Haiti demands answers.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden. How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on First Post America.
The chair is authorized to declare recess at any time. We welcome everyone to today's hearing on the weaponization of the federal government. The chair now recognizes the gentleman from Kentucky, Mr. Massey, to lead us all in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Justice for all. Appreciate the enthusiasm. We'll start with opening statements, then move into our witnesses. The chair now recognizes himself for an opening statement. Big government was colluding with big tech to censor Americans. That's the first thing we learned. But now it's big government colluding with big